So some of the more moderate, some of the more swingy district Democrats breaking ranks with their party leadership, which is fighting very hard, whipping their members to vote against it.
$1.5 trillion of demands, including free health care for illegal aliens, to bloat the government, to steal from taxpayers, to steal from working Americans. And at the end, after over 40 days, what did they get? Nothing. Defeated, humiliated, disgraced. President Trump bringing trillions of investment into America, giving Americans trillions of dollars in tax cuts. And what did Democrats do in their big moment?
Suck.
They steal hardworking money from our taxpayers, they cancel their flights, and they destroy billions of dollars in economic value.
Democrats are furious over this shutdown. They thought that they were going to be winning this whole thing, digging their heels in. No, we love illegal aliens, healthcare subsidies forever, affordability, blah, blah. And now they're crying, screaming, even on the House floor about all of this. We've got a list of the Democrats who did also defect and join the Republicans, exacerbating the fury. How dare you? Here's what the story says from Politico. It says the sour atmosphere stands to linger as another shutdown deadline approaches, and Democrats are furious about this, saying they're back at work, and boy, are they mad. They said they're mad at the Senate Democrats who cut them out of negotiations to reopen the government. They're mad at Speaker Johnson for keeping the House out of session for what they called a vacation. And they're mad after all of that there's still no clear path forward on meeting their next key demand, which is an extension of the healthcare insurance subsidies that expire next month. And again, if their program, if Obamacare, if government sort of adjacent healthcare solutions are not increasing affordability, they're actually making it more expensive such that you need insurance subsidies in order for people to get your accessible healthcare under Obamacare, maybe the program is bad and you should let the Republicans take a crack at it. Their fury was evident across the Capitol in the 24 hours leading up to the vote on Wednesday to reopen the government. They took stock of what's going to happen. They go, crap, we just lost right now. We're probably going to lose in the future. That sour mood almost reminds me of noxious odor, very colorful language, stands to linger with another shutdown deadline coming up in January, and members hoping to somehow forge a bipartisan compromise on the insurance subsidies in the coming weeks so that we can continue to pay for unaffordable programs and call that a solution. It's like, what? Hey man, the boat is sinking. You can't just keep putting duct tape over this breach in the hull. Yeah, we can. Just strap another tape. It's going to sink if you keep doing that, because then everybody's going to be subsidized until what? The Senate says that they'll have a vote on the subsidies. And speaking to reporters ahead of the final vote, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, he said, we're going to keep up the fight, but our options are limited. One casualty of the shutdown was Jeffries' once cordial relationship with Johnson. Oh, great loss, which descended into mudslinging as the standoff ground on and frustration mounted. Jeffries said, institutionally, Mike Johnson did great damage to the House of Representatives by castrating his Republican majority, keeping his extremists on a taxpayer-funded vacation for more than 7 weeks, Hakeem Jeffries said. The vacation epithet was once popular for Democrats, and the Republicans were mad about that. We're not on vacation. We're working hard. During a late-night hearing Tuesday, Rules Committee Chair Virginia Fox came out after and was interrupted. Fox said, I'm sick and tired of hearing you say that we had an 8-week vacation. You punks. I worked every day. I don't know about you, but I don't want to hear another soul say that. Liars. Ansari refused to back off, said, I hope you all enjoyed yourselves while American families were terrified that their health insurance premiums were going to double or triple. Maybe you should go talk to Obama about that. I thought he said that this was going to lower costs for people, not increase the costs. You can't afford it, okay, if somebody else is paying for it. They can afford it, not you. In this case, it's the government. Now, adding to the partisan tension surrounding the shutdown was Johnson's decision to keep someone else out called Adelita Grijalva from Arizona. She's gotten sworn in, and he said, bless her heart, bless his heart. They should all know how this works, but they don't. They're idiots. When the American people vote, this chamber respects their will and seats them immediately. Politics should never come into play, but the government was shut down, and now she's in there. But that prompted a warning from another individual. Said, I know there's a lot of anxiety around this, and the Democrats are mad. Jeffrey separately cautioned that a laundry list of other items on the agenda could also be threatened, and the business of the American people must continue, he said. So they're mad. If they come to us for anything, we'll say, get lost. We'll see about that, Hakeem. Here are the people who actually voted against the Democrats, broke ranks with their party, over from Andrew Colvett, you know who he is. Jared Golden, Maine. Adam Gray, California. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, Washington. Don Davis, North Carolina. Henry Cuellar, Texas. Tom Souza, New York. And here's the reporting over from CNN on what went down.
Kentucky, Greg Stubbe of Florida, the Democratic yes votes, Jared Golden of Maine, Adam Gray of California, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez of Washington State, Don Davis of North Carolina, Henry Cuellar of Texas, and Tom Suozzi, who's a New York Democrat as well. So some of the more moderate, some of the more swingy district Democrats breaking ranks with their party leadership, which was fighting very hard, whipping their members to vote against it. But a handful of them broke ranks, joined with the Republicans, and now this bill is on set into passage, and federal workers can probably go bit deep.
Yeah, and this never would have happened under Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem. She would have never let them break ranks. Are you kidding me? She would have, I don't really know what her methodologies were, but they were pretty brutal because nobody ever broke ranks. But Hakeem just can't get it together for whatever reason. Maybe he should add some more hand gestures into his speaking. Oversight said, here's what is our perspective. After 43 long days, Republican Oversight Committee, of Democrats holding federal funding hostage, the Schumer shutdown, a national nightmare, is finally coming to an end. This Democrat-led government shutdown inflicted real harm on the American people, disrupting critical food assistance for low-income women, infants, and children, causing widespread travel delays nationwide and interruptions to Social Security, and suspended funding for essential healthcare programs relied upon by Medicare. Americans deserved better than the reckless political games that were played by these Democrats, which pushed vital programs and services to their breaking point. Now, House Republicans and President Trump have been clear from the start. Congress must act in the best interest of the American people and reopen the government. We've been saying it for months. The passage of today's continuing resolution is a critical step toward restoring stability, ensuring accountability, and safeguarding the government services millions of Americans rely on every day. The House Oversight Committee will continue to work its work and remain focused on all the things: waste, fraud, abuse, mismanagement, and more. And maybe you guys should also oversee the FBI and the DOJ. All right, anyway, so we got that. We also saw the president was signing this into law. Here's what he said last night in a late night hearing, victorious as the Democrats were just down the street in the Capitol screaming, no, no, like the death of 1,000 sons or something. Here's what Trump said.
Past 43 days, Democrats in Congress shut down the government of the United States in an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our
ridiculous
healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on.
Jerks.
Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. The extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons.
And they are now mad that the government is back open. Here was Stephen Miller explaining who these people actually are last night on with Fox.
Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries being terrified of the Mondami wing, the AOC wing of the Democrat Party, understanding that they're not in control of anything anymore. It is a communist party. Is it an America Last party? It is a party that puts illegals over citizens, criminals over cops, cheaters over hardworking taxpayers at every level. This shutdown was an example of just how little the Democrats care about Americans. They forced our national security workers to go without pay. They forced Americans to be stuck at airports, flights canceled at levels never seen before in history. Why? All for what? $1.5 trillion of demands, including free health care for illegal aliens, to bloat the government, to steal from taxpayers, to steal from working Americans. And at the end, after over 40 days, what did they get? Nothing. Defeated, humiliated, disgraced. But in the meantime, they sucked billions of dollars in wealth out of the economy. Think about the contrast, Sean. President Trump bringing trillions of investment into America, giving Americans trillions of dollars in tax cuts. And what did Democrats do in their big moment? They steal hardworking money from our taxpayers, they cancel their flights, and they destroy billions of dollars in economic value. You will not see a clear contrast. The Democrats are the party of destruction. President Trump is leading the party of creation, opportunity, and wealth.
Let's go. Stephen Miller in the House explaining the truth about the opposite party. Here was a little bit more. Kevin Hassett was out this morning, and he took some questions. He, of course, is economic counsel, so everybody's going, hey, man, you got some money back. We're going to reopen all this stuff. What's going to happen next?
Our Council of Economic Advisors said that it costs about $15 billion a week, and it accumulates to maybe 1.5% of GDP when you account for multiplier effects. And their current estimate is that 60,000 Americans, not government workers, have lost their jobs because of the reduced economic outlook.
Affordability has become a key word after Election Day last week. How has President Trump, from your perspective, made things more affordable for Americans?
I mean, the first thing that we've done is we've stopped the runaway inflation. And the second thing we've done is we've pushed policies that have caused incomes to grow a lot. But we understand that people understand, as they look at their pocketbooks and go to the grocery store, that there's still work to do. The way I summarize all the stats we look at is that real purchasing power for a typical worker dropped $3,400 under President Biden and has gone up $1,200 so far today. But Americans rightly are frustrated that they're still $2,000 short. And that's something that we're going to fix. We're going to fix it right away.
Kevin, Swiss negotiators were coming to D.C. last night to talk to the White House about a trade deal. Do you expect there'll be an agreement there?
I wasn't participating in that conversation last night, so I've not been read in yet.
On the economic impact of the shutdown, you mentioned that it will impact the GDP, quarterly GDP number. What magnitude?
Oh, yeah, it's about 1 to 1.5%. I think that at the beginning of the quarter, we were expecting a 3 to 4% GDP number in the fourth quarter, which would be consistent with the numbers over the last 2 quarters. And so now you're looking at something about half of that.
Kevin, how realistic are these $2,000 tariff checks that the president wants to send to all Americans? Is that actually going to happen?
Well, it's something that will require legislation. But if you look at how much tariff revenue has been coming in, then there would actually be enough room to cover those checks and not go into the rest of the budget. So, yeah, there would be enough money to pay for the $2,000 checks.
So are you actually actively working with Congress to try to make that happen?
And we're actively studying the matter and getting the numbers straight so the president has all the choices he needs to decide what to do.
Just to clarify, when can furloughed employees expect to get paid back?
We expect that people who were actually brought back in as essential employees a couple days early so that the furloughed employees could get their checks as soon as possible. And I was really pleased to see some of my furloughed employees show up today, and there's a lot of hugging and smiling. I think that the payments will come probably early next week. I think that's what maybe even before. That there really has been an aggressive effort for people to get their checks as soon as possible.
Can you talk about the lack of economic data this month? How much is that going to impact you going forward, especially as you're talking about that issue of affordability?
Well, there's some data. The September jobs report has already been cooked, and we expect we might get that next week. It just hadn't been released. The October employment report for the payroll side will be able to be calculated, but the household survey wasn't completed, so we'll get sort of half a jobs report. Most everything else, I think, we'll be able to concoct the correct number after we look back, but we will never know what the unemployment rate was in October because there wasn't a household survey. With that, I thank you all for your attention.
All right, Kevin Hassett, couple questions being answered. Democrats furious, government's open, Kevin's staff hugging, high-fiving. We're back, baby. We did it. Let's go back to our government work, doing whatever we're doing for America. All right, so we'll keep our eye on this, but good news is, from our perspective, it's hard to really understand what actually happened. They pass bills, what's in the CRs. There's always grift, there's always graft. They always say there isn't, so who the hell really knows what's going on? But you can always tell directionally how we're doing based on the reaction by the Democratic Party. And the right people are screeching. You could hear them on the floor crying about it. So that's tremendous news for us. That means they see something. It's not good for them. By process of elimination, means it's probably good for us. So happy to see it, and progress continues.